Welcome to the RotD deep dive discussion on 2017's Ghost House. So this video is full of spoilers. If you haven't seen the movie yet, don't. But if you have and you want to talk about it, or you want to hear more that's full of spoilers, or if you haven't and you just don't care, which whatever. The thing that I really took issue with and why none of the scary bits landed is because it was isolated to one character, and that character wasn't involved in the investigation. The haunting was only attached to the girl, to the Julie character, who I didn't find very interesting in the first place. So I had no connection with her. And so everybody else is pretty much perfectly safe. The stakes are her, and I don't care about her. But even if I did, it would still fall down because she wasn't involved in the how process. She wasn't involved in figuring out a way out of this. She was basically bedridden and so there were no, if she was involved in the investigatory process and these hauntings and these jump scares were happening to her that were impeding her progress, now you have stakes that are in jeopardy. But as it was, she was getting scared, other people were doing the legwork, and so no matter what happened, the investigation would not be impeded. So there's nothing at stake in the plot. There's only something at stake with the character. But even then, they established a ticking clock. They established that she has 36 hours. So everything up until then, okay, fine. It goes into the hospital room and it has a scary moment in there where, she sees something that is unsettling. Well, who cares? Nothing's going to happen to her. She has 36 hours before this finally takes effect. And even then, they're pretty ambiguous about what actually happens. And that at the end of that, her soul gets corrupted forever and there's no going back. Okay. Okay, fine. Let's just equate that to death. But even then, that means I have 36 or 72? 3 days. Who cares? She has a finite amount of time. So until that time hits, she's fine. She's going to get scared. But even then, it's not going to impede the investigation because she's not a part of it. It doesn't matter. Any scene that cut to her, like I said, in the hospital, and then stuff started to happen. It had nothing to do with the plot and characters that were driving the movie. And it had no stakes, it had no threat, it had nothing that would have caused any harm to the character aside from some mental scarring, which you knew she would get out of anyway. And then they established the how. They established the rules, and this character, Jim, who, my lord, did I hate this performance. The actor has such a punchable face. I have nothing against this actor. I just think that the way that he was portrayed, I mean, with his hair and I don't know, just everything that was put on screen made him seem like he would be good as a secondary villain henchman kind of thing. It just didn't fit the main character role. But regardless, they established the how to get out of this. Which again, anybody paying attention to the movie was already 6 steps ahead of the characters. Do what happened to you. Okay, the British guys, they had a woman with them who was hospitalized for the exact same thing, and she just left this morning from the hospital. Clearly, they had to pass it on. So clearly, to get out of this, you have to pass it on. And this character of Jim, who was going throughout the movie saying, "Oh, I'll do anything." Are you sure you're going to be put to the test, mister? You better be prepared to do anything. I'm prepared to do anything. Okay, well, just pass it on to another couple. Oh, I can't do that. What? Okay, fine, I understand having a character with a moral foundation that they can't do it and all that, but why set it up with... Okay, the contrast between I'll do anything and this, terrible, high resolution of character that, just, but the slightest speed bump for him on an ethical level, and all of a sudden it's out the window. And then they pull the solution, they pull out another how, and they pull it right out of their butt, and has nothing to do with anything that they investigated. They just simply take Reno hostage until he takes him to a witch doctor, and the witch doctor does the voodoo that she does so well. And even then, this character of I'll do anything. Like, all right, well, here's a wedding ring, or here's the engagement ring. Okay, well, that's not going to be enough. You need to give up a body part. Well, I was thinking something pretty extreme, like, have one of the two henchmen guys there, the witch doctor's henchmen, cut off his arm or something. It's like, no, just a finger. I'm like, oh, all right, you guys getting off easy. And then this guy, this Jim character, who's I'll do anything. My finger. Well, I mean, the ring's pretty important. I think that should be good enough. Why don't you just give it a whirl? Just couldn't believe it. It was laughable. I mean, to the point where I was laughing. And then he finds it, takes his finger anyway, and then the solution that wasn't even a part of the investigation presented itself, and everything was happy, and the Reno character had his line of, comedic timing, and then the movie ended, and boy, was I glad that it did. I was just not a fan of this one. But yeah, I mean, fundamentally, the thing that I thought was most unforgivable about it was that it was a combination of boring and not scary. And in order for it to have been scary, I don't know. I mean, they would have had to rewrite the whole thing. I honestly think they would have needed to do that. I think that, hypothetically, I mean, I haven't thought about this. I'm going to have to speak off the cuff here, but let's do a what if. What if, and this is really off the top of my head, what if the evil spirit was possessing the girl and she was in those moments lashing out and causing physical harm to the people around her? And, it wasn't that she was being comatose. It wasn't that she was being emotionally or, soul, bankrupt so that she was being hospitalized. It was more, she was perfectly normal and then had these attacks and spouts of violent tendencies. And this is why. Well, now you have a situation where everybody's in danger because of her. And I think that would raise the stakes for everybody. And if she's not hospitalized, then she can be a part of this how and this investigation and these, interviews with people. But at the same time, that creates tension because she could be a loose cannon. She could be, the switch flipped at any particular moment. And all of a sudden she's, attacking somebody with a knife. So, I mean, they want to help her, but at the same time, she's a liability and everybody's in jeopardy. Okay, so that's just off the cuff, and I think that could have worked. I think that would have elevated the fear quotient level, and then when she finally did make the ultimate, transition, I think at that point, you have the stakes raised for everybody that she would be like this permanently. I honestly think they could have done a whole lot just differently, and it would have worked. But the fact that the possession was isolated to her, that it pretty much brought her out of commission, that it attached the ticking clock to her so that there were absolutely no stakes until that time, that arbitrary point was set. It just didn't work. It wasn't scary. It wasn't interesting. And, if you're going to have a movie that is based on an investigation, try not to have the characters that are 60 steps behind the audience. It just doesn't work. So that's about it. I really don't want to discuss this movie anymore. I've had it with it. So, but that's in terms of me wanting to discuss it in this video. What I would like is to discuss it with you. If you want to leave comments, if you want to describe to me why I'm wrong, why I'm right, whatever, I would love to hear from you. And I will be reading and responding and engaging as I try to always do with the deep dives. If you like these videos, I really do welcome you to click subscribe. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for making me a part of your day. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you tomorrow.